now we'll come to the IT security part, and which we have been touching upon until now. Now, there is this entire side of the org where you're looking at, the networks that have already been built to an extent, because maybe you are not there on day one as a security person. There are systems, there is infrastructure, which is there, or there is cloud as of today. In the beginning, when you join such an organization or you're leading security for such a startup, there may be no visibility in terms of the IT assets, systems, even the access or permissions, and it might be all over the place. The existing ways of working might also be very different. They may not be structured for that matter. So what do you think are the measures that you can take to secure the network infrastructure, the systems, or the devices and things like that, given that there may be certain things which might be already running in a certain way? There may be design changes. The ecosystem, the IT ecosystem might itself have become a little more complex and may not have been designed correctly. So can you touch upon those nuances a little bit?
I mean, whatever is your strategy, right? I think it is extremely important to understand your ecosystem. And to understand your ecosystem, inventory is one of the critical areas that you need to start first. And that's also part of your most important aspect that you do as part of the first day, maybe, or the first, charter of security. So this is a very interesting area, building an inventory. There might be already existing inventory infrastructure which is serving the traffic. It could be on cloud. There could be IT infrastructure. There could be systems in your warehousing, anything, right? But then knowing the entire visibility of an inventory is very important. I think that is already established. Now, if you want to talk about how to do this, my easier approach is try and think as much as open source as possible. There are so many tools in the market that help you derive inventory from your cloud assets, your IT assets, which are maybe on-prem, on the cloud, SaaS components. Try and lean on as much as open source tooling as possible. We have been using a lot of open source tools in the IT infrastructure. For example, Snipe IT is one of those tools. It's a brilliant tool which can use. It's an open source tool. On the cloud side of things, nowadays you hear a lot of cloud security posture management tools. These are available right off the box. A lot of them are open source. Some of them like Cloud Queries, SteamPipe. These are very useful tools in building that inventory.
So if I understand correctly, you're saying start open source. I think that also gives you visibility into, first of all, what your assets are, but also in terms of the vulnerabilities. You are at a place, I think, gradually where you mature, and then eventually you can look at paid tools later on, depending on what your actual requirements are.
Yes, I think this kind of a strategy or an approach always helps in bringing that funding related conversations with your leadership, right? See, the moment you start a conversation where these things, you want a commercial tool. Any person would ask you, like, why wouldn't you start with basics? If there are open source tools which can do this, let's start with it. There might be certain capabilities which the open source tool may not be doing it from out of the box installations. For that, you need to build a case which you can have a radical conversation or matured conversation with the leadership. So this is a very important quality that every leader should try and see in security, that start as basic as possible. Try and understand as much as your landscape requires and see the appetite, right? The business appetite for security may not be what you are thinking. I think that differentiation, if you build that awareness, it kind of works both ways, both for business as well as security.
Yeah, I think it also gives you, as a security team, the time to understand how getting processes in place related to even these open source tools are happening, what is the level of friction, which places you need to go. But also you don't end up spending a lot of time debating and getting that paid tool, which may not be necessary for you at that time. So I think absolutely very rightly put there.